Hello everybody. Just wanted to do a quick video here. Mikey is at work, but I keep forgetting to mention some of this stuff, and it's like, might as well just do it right now. Several have contacted us and told us that the witnesses are saying their preaching work is done, and CO in Arizona, he told the congregation that the preaching work is done. They're still going to be doing the carts and their door-to-door, but it is not called field service or preaching work or anything like that anymore. It is now called disciple making. And what they're concentrating on is making disciples. Finding the few remaining ones that, are going to be saved. And it's interesting because the congregation is being told that if you have return visits or Bible studies that aren't progressing, forget about them, just move on. If you go to the door or someone at the literature cart, they're not interested, they don't matter, they're not going to be disciples, move on, got more important things to do. So this is interesting, what they're saying. And of course, they were saying the same thing, back in the later 60s and early 70s. It's the same thing, so don't get excited. Okay, now many of you know that I have the old bond volumes. This is the 1879 Watchtower bond volume. And let's see, I believe this is July's, his very first Watchtower. Yes, July 1879. It's so delicate, I'm afraid to even touch it. But here on page 8, there's a subheading, What is Truth? Now, I think we've mentioned this before in videos, but I just wanted to mention this again, just for emphasis. Paragraph 1. This question is one which every sincere Christian should ask and seek to answer. We should learn to love and value truth for its own sake, to respect and honor it by owning and acknowledging it whenever we find it, and by whomever presented. Now, I just want to stop here. And the thing is this is old light. Jehovah's Witnesses won't look at the old 1879 Watchtower, because it's old light. It's apostate literature now. But this was the truth back then. In fact, over on the very next page, it is talking about how Jesus is not Michael the Archangel. Just have to wonder, about Watchtower's history. Okay, so back to page 8. A truth presented by Satan himself is just as true as a truth stated by God. But how could you trust Satan, even if it was the truth? Makes you wonder. Perhaps no class of people are more apt to overlook this fact than the Christian. How often do they in controversy overlook and ignore truth presented by their opponents? This happens even today. This is particularly the case when arguing with an infidel. I kid you not. That's what he says. They feel at perfect liberty to dispute everything he says on religious subjects. This is not the correct principle. Many infidels are honest, as anxious to speak and believe the truth as are Christians, and if in converse with them we ignore truth which they may advance, we not only fail to convince them of our truths, but put an end to all hope of reaching them, for our failure to admit the evident truth which they advance begets in them contempt for the one who is not honest enough to admit one truth, because he does not see how it can be reconciled to another. Accept truth wherever you find it, no matter what it contradicts, and rely for ability to afterwards Harmonize it with others upon the Spirit of truth, which shall guide you in all truth, as Jesus promised. Now, the reason I bring this up is many of us activists here on YouTube, blogs, social media, have been presenting these truths to Jehovah's Witnesses. This is your history. This is your past. This was the truth in 1879. And I do believe Russell is right, that you should be willing, to look at the truth of what your own history was. Which brings me to an email that a friend of mine sent. Thank you, Emily. Appreciate this. She says, I've had a bunch of epiphanies. I've been thinking about how aggressive Watchtower has become with sending letters out to people warning them if they step foot on any property, whether it be owned or rented by Watchtower, that the police will be called and charges will be filed. Now, many of you know by now that several of the activists, they're getting these letters. I think some people are withdrawing from the activist scene because of Watchtower threats. We've all noted how interesting it is that Watchtower will immediately call the police to get apostates off the premises, yet they failed to call the police to protect children and adults who are being abused. And this is a wonderful point. But this is what I realized this morning. With as threatening as they have been, and from personal experience with threats made against your YouTube channel, oh yeah, how they can be. Our printer didn't do a good job. As our society is as a whole has become, why has Watchtower never filed a defamation suit against any of the entities which have exposed the ugly truth about the truth? If all of this is just apostate-driven lies, then why hasn't Watchtower sued the Australian Royal Government or the Internal Revenue Service for listing the fact that they have stock holdings in Philip Morris and Boeing, etc.? Why haven't they sued Canadian Channel 5 for slander along with Dateline in 2020? And how about, while you're at it, filing suit against the United Nations for defamation of character and liable for having on its website that Jehovah's Witnesses were NGO members for a period of 10 years? After all, the Internal Revenue Service, the Australian government, the United Nations, and Channel 5 are all apostate organizations and websites. Every one of them, right? They're all created, set up, and maintained and run by apostates, right? Wrong. They can't file a lawsuit against any of these because it's the truth. And as a final cherry on top of this poisonous sundae, I like that, how many times did they tell us not to fight back to retaliate, but to leave it in Jehovah's hands and let him settle the matter? Then why are they compelled to call the police the minute an apostate enters the Kingdom Hall or convention site? Why don't they just leave the apostates to Jehovah? And that's a really good point. Especially, with as aggressive as they've been going after some of these activists. And speaking of Mark with Witness No More, we're so sorry that you're going through this. And I really wish we could help you more. And I want to thank everyone in the whole area who sent me the article here on the local newspaper. The name of the article is Why Jehovah's Witnesses Could Soon Stop Knocking on Doors in Hull. And it appears they're all going to be concentrating on the literature carts and going into larger cities and stuff. So I'm going to put the link to this article down below. And our sweetie Adrienne, she's mentioned in this again. But it just talks about, how they think their literature carts are more effective because they're talking to more people. Whatever. So anyway, and I want to thank everybody so much for your emails and your comments and your phone calls and your love and support and friendship. We were reading some of the comments, the past few days, and awesome job, guys. Appreciate it so much, and thank you so much for you abuse victims who have, contacted me privately and made comments under the video, who have said, they really appreciated the video I did in mentioning about that name Jehovah. And I appreciate it so much. You guys are so brave, and, mentioning it. And, our hearts and thoughts and prayers are with you guys, because you've been through so much. And I'm okay. I don't want any pity or sympathy for what I went through, because I feel there's so many who have gone through worse. And, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. And I wouldn't be the person today, and back in my 30s, I just had to forgive my parents. I just had to let it go and forgive them. And I've been a lot better since then. And when we started doing videos, I didn't need my antidepressants anymore, because I was getting it all off my chest. And it was therapy. It was therapy. So I appreciate everybody. And many of you sent me private messages on Facebook and emails saying that, you totally agreed, because that name Jehovah makes you cringe. And some even gave them panic attacks and anxiety, and they can't even go to meetings and hear that name. So thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate your feedback on this. And like I said, check out the link down below. And also, I am going to be putting some more secretly leaked videos and talks and stuff on our second channel, just because we don't want the copyright strikes. So I'm going to put the link down below to that one. And check them out. There's one that I'm going to be uploading hopefully today or tomorrow about the Bristol Assembly Hall from the mid-90s. And it's a long video, but this is the video they were sending around and showing the JWs, trying to get more money. And then the second part is the dedication of this assembly hall, and governing body, I forget his first name, I think it was Jack, but anyway, Barr, gave the dedication, and they actually rented an arena for the following day to have an even bigger party and dedication. So I'm hoping to get that up, and hope you all have a wonderful week. And I'm already working on re-editing our video for Throwback Thursday, and it's gonna be a doozy. I had forgotten how many we had done on our first channel, so this has been interesting going through all of these. And if any of you who've seen videos from our first channel and want me to put it up for the Throwback Thursday, let me know. Let me know. You can contact me either through Facebook, Kimmy M. Brooks, or through our website, watchtower.exposed. Just send me a message and let me know what video you want to see. And I found one on our current channel here, so I've added it to the playlist of the Throwback Thursday. And that was the one where they actually said in the literature that women were going to be turning into men in the new system paradise. So anyway, that was a good one too. So you all have a wonderful week, and I love you. Bye.